Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining us today for Ahead of the Game, a webinar jam-packed full of fundraising games. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Madison Koutman, and I am the Marketing Campaign Manager for GiveSmart. I am joined today by two fundraising professionals, Kaitlin Bordeaux, Admissions and Development Director from Marion Catholic High School, who is also an outstanding GiveSmart customer, and Megan Snider, Customer Marketing Manager for MobileCause. Thank you both for joining us today. I wanted to start off with Kaitlin. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your background and your role and your fundraising experience?
Yes, thank you so much, Madison, and thank you for having me on today. I'm so excited to be joining this call with fellow GiveSmart customers, as well as maybe some prospective customers as well. Like Madison said, my name is Kaitlin Bordeaux, and I am the Admissions and Development Director at Marion Catholic High School in northwest suburbs of Chicago. And actually, this is my alma mater, so eventually made it back to where I went to high school. But I did start out in the events industry and then transitioned to nonprofit and have been in nonprofit fundraising for the last 7 years. And we became a GiveSmart customer back in November of 2018. And I'm excited to share with you throughout the call today some of the different campaigns and games that we have utilized, all thanks to being a customer of GiveSmart.
Thank you so much, Kaitlin. I'm so excited to have you here and can't wait to see and hear what you are going to share with us today. And Megan, can you also tell us a little bit about your background and nonprofit experience?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to join you today. Just to give you a little background on me, I joined the MobileCause team in December. So I'm still very new, but previously I was a customer of MobileCause for a few years. And I worked for a handful of different nonprofits in Indianapolis, where I'm located. Most recently, I worked for United Way of Central Indiana in a marketing fundraising role. And then before that, I worked for the local NPR PBS station. So I've been working for nonprofits basically since I've been out of school. So I don't even know how long that is now, but yeah, I'm excited to share some of my experiences with you all today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm excited to see what you have in store for us as well. So housekeeping wise, just wanted to touch on a few things. We anticipate today's call going around 50 minutes. We will be taking questions throughout the call, so please throw any and all questions you may have in the Q&A box, and we will address them if they're relevant to the topic at the moment. Otherwise, we'll save them for the Q&A section at the end. We will also be using the chat to share resources with you throughout the call, so keep your eyes out for those. And finally, I wanted to make sure you all know that we are recording this call, and we will be sending the full recording out to all of you in our follow-up email. So be looking for that either in your inboxes later today or tomorrow. So with that out of the way, let's get the ball rolling. To go over our agenda, we will start today with a brief poll in just a moment, and then we will dive into creative fundraising game ideas and two fabulous examples from GiveSmart customers, creative raffle ideas, and more outstanding customer campaign examples. We'll wrap with creative outdoor game ideas and some super fun examples. And then we will end the day with a Q&A with our speakers, like I said. So the theme of today is to take these ideas and examples and, pun intended, run with them. How can you use them, change them, apply them to your mission, and create meaningful, fun experiences for your donors? So first, let's take a vote. What is your favorite fundraising game? So we want to know what your favorite fundraising game is. Can be one that you've done at an event for your organization or one you've participated in somewhere else. Whatever it is, vote for it. While the poll is running, if you vote other, let us know in the chat what we're missing. We want to get a conversation going about the games and experiences you've had so you can inspire your peers. If you don't know one or more of these games or you've never played them, no worries. We have ideas and examples teed up for each. Megan and Kaitlin, I'll come to you in just a second. Megan, what's your favorite fundraising game?
I do love a good raffle. I'll be honest, like any kind of raffle, I'm all in on that. But a wine poll is super fun too.
Love it. Kaitlin, how about you?
I think mine would have to be heads or tails. For those of you who may not be familiar, I will go into that in just a moment, but just a fun extra revenue generator that gets everyone involved and engaged. It is honestly very silly. So I think my favorite fundraising game out of those choices would have to be heads or tails.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I'll go ahead and end the poll. Looks like everyone voted. And Raffle pulled ahead with 35%, closely followed by wine poll and then heads or tails. So we love seeing what you guys have as your favorites. I think my personal favorite is bingo. I love bingo. I'll play it anytime, anywhere. Or reverse bingo. I love that idea in the chat. So keep those coming. Keep chatting with each other. We love to see what you guys want to share with us. So moving forward, Megan, can you get us started with fundraising games and what trends kind of look like going into 2022?
For sure. So games and creating fundraising are great on so many different levels and for so many things. Obviously, community engagement is great. Using games and creative fundraising as revenue enhancers, I think is something that is just great as like almost an additional add-on or even like, having to be your full event. On the GiveSmart platform, you guys can see on there in 2021, the raffle item feature raised 13.5 million for nonprofits, and the voting feature raised 1.43 million, which is pretty incredible. And those numbers are huge. These features are continually used in such creative ways, and we're really looking forward to sharing some of them today. Again, being inclusive for audiences that are on site and off, and making sure that you're using the virtual platforms like GiveSmart, like MobileCause to do that, just to continue those trends in that way. And then one last point, according to our data, creative fundraising and the use of the features like raffles and voting and instant items and more are definitely trending upward for this year compared to last year.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's really exciting to see all of the trends that are coming through with using different features creatively, trying out different types of events. And that's what today is about. So let the games begin. Kaitlin, I will pass it to you to talk about what Marion Central Catholic High School has done with your campaigns and some of the takeaways you've had from the past couple of years.
Wonderful. Thanks so much again, Megan. So as you can see on this slide, Marian has used GiveSmart in a variety of ways. When we first came on board in November of 2018, our intention was primarily the mobile bidding. It was, as many of you I'm sure have experienced, getting to be a pain with a ton of auction items and trying to pull the bid sheets and tally them with multiple bidders. And really on the back end for our volunteers and staff was getting to be a nightmare. And so we had been begging and pleading with the powers that be to try and get this service. And to be honest, ever since we've gotten it, we have just continued to utilize it in a variety of ways. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure how we would have made it through 2020 and beyond without GiveSmart. I would have been afraid that our fundraising would have come to a halt. And as I'm sure all of you have experienced, our mission doesn't stop just because COVID has been at play here. And so, again, I will probably sound like a broken record, but GiveSmart has really been essential to our fundraising at Marian. And so to kind of give you some overviews of what we've used it for, the mobile bidding, like you said, is how we started out. And then we just started to really just get creative with our fundraising and figure out how we could implement GiveSmart to make it happen and make it more user-friendly. I will also say that not only our development office has benefited from using GiveSmart, but now our additional groups that also have to do with our high school are using it. We are using it with our athletic boosters program, and using it for alumni events and for scholarship fundraising opportunities, and fundraising for a jumbotron for our football field. And so it's been wonderful that not only our office can have unlimited campaigns as far as how we want to handle our fundraising, but other groups within our school have utilized this as well. And we're just, again, eternally grateful for all that GiveSmart can do. In addition, I will say it's been super easy to communicate with our guests as far as using the platform. And as we all know, as we're planning events and fundraisers, we want to keep our donors invested and involved in what's happening. And sometimes it may be the last thing that we think of as we're in the nitty gritty of planning an event. It's like, oh shoot, we didn't send out, information about the event, where to be, when, what to wear. And GiveSmart has really made that super simple with just allowing us to be able to over communicate using their templates to send text messages, to send emails, and not sure what to say, there's a template for it. And then you can add it, change what you need to from there. We know that people are always on their phones, and with mobile bidding, those text messages coming right to them of updates on your winning your bid or you're losing, and just being able to be able to communicate to them right on their phone has been crucial for the success of our events. So not to go into too much detail yet about our specific campaigns, but it really has been, like I said, a game changer, pun intended, for Marian.
Absolutely. And would you mind sharing real quick a few details about heads or tails? Because we had a question come in about like what that is or how you run it. And then if you could give us just like a really brief overview of Paint and Sip as well and how you turned that into a fundraiser.
Sure. So for heads and tails, we've implemented it into an already existing gala auction type event, but it's just a revenue generator, and you can pick the dollar amount that you'd like for the participants to pay. We've usually been somewhere between $5 and $10, and the guests then can either purchase as an instant item ahead of time, or we certainly can have them pay the night of the event as well. But basically you have your MC run it, and they flip a coin, and before that coin is flipped, everyone either puts their hands on their heads or their tails. And for anyone who gets it correct, then they get to keep playing, and everyone who did not get it correct sits down. As far as who wins, you just keep going and playing until you're down to 2 people. Usually we like to bring them up on stage and make a really big deal of it. And then the winner is determined by the last person standing. And again, it just gets everyone involved. Usually we have, friends and family tables. And so, if there's only a few people playing, they usually convince the rest of the people at the table to play. And pretty soon you have the whole entire room playing this silly game. But it's a great, quick revenue generator. I would say the game overall takes no more than 10-15 minutes. And usually, if you can fit it in right after like a live auction or something that you've really gotten everyone's attention, then they're all, you have their attention and you can roll right into playing this game. As far as the prize goes for it, you can determine whatever that is. We usually set like a flat dollar amount ahead of time, and we just do cash from the proceeds. So we might say, oh, it's going to generate $3,000, and we're going to give a flat fee of $250 as a price. So that is what we have used for heads and tails. And then for paint and sip, this was, we really had to get creative with COVID and what we could and couldn't do, whether it was virtual or in person. And so one event that we came up with that we felt was COVID friendly was paint and sip. And so we use this for ticketing feature as well as raffle. We had items left over from our auction. And so we use those and use the raffle feature. And again, we had quite the age range of participants at that event, and everyone felt comfortable using GiveSmart, and many of them it was for the first time. And so we used the raffle, and then we used the, I believe it's like raffle generator, actually a recommendation of GiveSmart, of a site that helps you randomly select, which number would be drawn. And so we use that for both ticketing feature and raffle. And then we did the paint and sip on the, as far as like, we had a painter come in and had snacks and drinks for our guests. So that was our paint and sip event as well.
Thank you. Yeah, those are both so much fun and so creative, and love what you guys have done and how creative you've been. I see some more questions coming through. Some of them we're going to save for the end so that we can keep moving with today's call, but keep those questions coming, keep the chat coming. And so, Megan, I am going to move ahead and have you start going over what some creative game ideas might be, or campaigns that we've seen in the past, either on GiveSmart or MobileCause.
Yeah, so we can just dive right in. And I mean, again, as I said earlier, some of these can be events on their own. Some of them can be components of other events like galas or golf outings. What's really nice is it's kind of flexible. You can do whatever you feel like is going to fit with your organization best. So diving in, bingo, like tons of great just bingo ideas and examples. You can be really creative with it. Including like a virtual drag bingo we've seen done before. And then I think it's just really fun in general to like host like fundraising games that way, right? Trivia, we've seen some virtual pizza nights done where participants make pizza at home, and while it's cooking, they play virtual trivia games. One thing to remember is doing trivia online is a great option for obviously keeping social distance right now. And then signing up as like an individual or a team is normally pretty easy with any of those, platforms as well. And then, having it be virtual means basically anyone from anywhere can participate, obviously, besides just relying on people locally to come in. But one thing I do want to comment on as far as like in-person trivia events, in my previous role, like I mentioned, where I worked at the local NPR PBS station, we did our big event fundraiser. Gala was the biggest trivia night in Central Indiana, was our theme. So all the questions were broken out into categories that related to the city of Indianapolis and any sort of like news genre, so geography, history, sports, etc. And part of the fundraising aspect of that, along with like buying a table, buying a ticket, drinks, silent auction, anything else, was that we did multiple live auctions to bid on a subject matter expert joining your table or your group for the round. So i.e., like best example of that is having a education reporter join your team for the 5 education category questions. So that was just something that was really fun. Scavenger hunts, again, in a different role, we did something called Spirited Chase, where we would pick 5 program partners and do a interactive on-the-go program to each of the partner locations. And the organizations are not known beforehand, so there were little like hints and clues to help guide you to each location. And then while at that location, you did a quick activity to support the organization, learn some quick history, and like, just learned a little bit more while you were there. Each stop was only 30 minutes, so you're constantly moving. And an event like that could easily be turned into like a big scavenger hunt. And I know, Madison, you have another example of a 5K that you wanted to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So just quickly wanted to throw in, when I was at a previous organization that I worked for as well, a nonprofit, we held a virtual 5K scavenger hunt. It was October of 2020. We just wanted to get our donors involved and outside doing something fun. So we did virtual race bibs that they could download and print and then write out why they were running or walking for our organization. And then while they were on their walk or run, take selfies with their bids or with their bibs and send those in to us with a hashtag. And then on top of that, it was also a scavenger hunt. So while they were out on their walk or run, we gave them a list of items that they could look for just to keep it fun, because people decorate their houses for Halloween. So you could explore your neighborhoods a little bit, get outside, get active. And it was really great to bring in a different audience of donors than we had had previously for our organization. And overall, it was a ton of fun, and I would do it again anytime. So, and I actually learned about the idea of doing a scavenger hunt. Similarly to this call, I was a member of GiveSmart's customer community and learned about a scavenger hunt from another customer, and then just took it and made it my own. So when it comes to taking today's games and ideas and making them your own for your organization, I myself have done it. And it's a ton of fun to get creative and do some little fun fundraisers throughout the year. So that's what I wanted to add in about scavenger hunts.
Awesome. I'm so happy you shared that. And I mean, the community is just a great aspect to GiveSmart and MobileCause. So then pivoting just really fast back to voting, we've seen some really good examples of this. Oh, sorry, I have a dog. I apologize. Sorry, everyone. I hope you can hear me fine. I apologize. We're all working from home still.
Yes.
So the one thing that I just really wanted to say was, for voting examples, holiday cookie decorating contests are a great idea. And then another great way to think about this, as far as creating that competitive aspect for voting, is, you know, like, what can you take a picture of that your donors can vote on? Cookie contests are really great, gingerbread, virtual bartender, anything like that. So that's just kind of another fun thing to add there. Another example is the golden ticket. A really good example of this was a silent auction golden ticket drive that got people to pre-register by buying a ticket for a specific prize, and their ticket, if chosen as that golden ticket, could win them their choice of one of the live auction items. So like, let's just say there were 5 live auction items. If their ticket was pulled, they got to pick one of the live auction items. So that is exciting for them. And those tickets were sold for $250 a piece. And it sold out before the event even began. And I know that we have more in the chat on that golden ticket example. And there's an exclusive profile webinar on that organization as well. Bringing everything full circle, the wine poll. I don't know if you guys are familiar with wine polls, but it's a great and really easy, fun thing to do. In my experience of doing wine polls, working with a local winery or a liquor store is the best way to go, as most of the time they're willing to donate some bottles in exchange for promotion or something like that. In a previous role, we had a partnership with a local winery, and they actually created a red and white wine for us to use in exchange for promotion. So that was just kind of a cool, fun idea. And then also we just asked for wine bottles of over $25. And then we did $20 for one poll, $35 for 2, and then $50 for 3. And then just another fun thing, when you're at your event, you don't really want to carry the wine around for the rest of the time. So we just created a wine check like you would your coat check, and did custom stickers and tabs for people to write their name and information on. And then they just pick it up at a table before leaving. And then I won't dive into heads or tails anymore because Kaitlin already shared that. But again, if you're wondering, like, how do you get prizes for these games? How do you know which items are going to be best? We're sharing some resources in the chat too that will be included also as resources, just to give you some ideas, advice, anything like that to be helpful to help get some items.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I love all of these ideas, and we can share plenty of additional resources. I see some of the questions coming in, like how did the virtual bartender work? We have a great blog with the organization that did that. So I will share that in the follow-up email, and any other questions that come in that I can share resources for, I am taking notes. So if they're not answered live, we'll make sure that you get a follow-up on some of your questions. We're going to move forward into some of our examples now. So Kaitlin, can you talk to us a little bit about your raffle that was a virtual car race that was super fun for your school?
Yes, absolutely. So essentially at the end of the day, this was a raffle, but it just how the winners were determined was where it got a little more creative. So this was when we kind of had to come up with some creative virtual fundraising ideas, and didn't really feel like it was a time that we could ask businesses that were really struggling for donations. And so we saw this idea implemented at another school, but they pretty much did it all via Facebook. And we thought, okay, we love the idea, but how can we use GiveSmart to make it our own and honestly make it even simpler for us and our participants? So if you've ever been to a college or professional game where they might have on the screen, it might be a Dunkin' Donuts contest, and, you are the donut and someone else might be a coffee or a bagel, and you have no control over how the race goes. But if that one wins, you might get a free coffee or you might get a free donut. Same kind of idea. Basically, we selected items that we felt were that our participants would like to win as a raffle, and they were not donated. We ended up paying for them out of our expenses. So we basically took the item, for example, a gift card, $250 Amazon gift card, and said, okay, how many chances do we want to give out and at what dollar amount? And so it would cover the cost, and then we would also gain some profit on it. So we didn't have that race until that was sold. And once we would have, about 10 items per week that was sold. Once they were all sold out, we had this virtual car race. So again, same kind of silly concept. No one had any control over their car winning, but instead of just reaching out of, a hat for the winner, this is how it was determined. We used a website called onlinestopwatch.com. And you could have a car race, you could have all different kinds of races, and you could select how many cars participated, your number of guests participated to number of cars, and then you just hit start. And we did it on Facebook Live, and the car that crossed the finish line was the winner. So again, I know it may sound complicated, but it just at the end of the day was a raffle, and it was how the winner was determined was just the creative part of it. So I think it's all about how you present it to your guests and donors. People had so much fun with it, and we're looking forward to the different prizes that we put up week after week. And it was just, raised a couple $1,000s and kept revenue rolling and kept our donors engaged. So that is a little bit about our virtual car race.
I love that. And I love this example. It's so much fun and a great idea, especially, like you said, just to keep donors going and keep everyone engaged and let everyone have fun. So I love this idea. And it's a raffle, but it's also about how you present it to your donors, like you said. So it's really, really fun. So thank you for sharing that example. And I will go ahead and share another example. I know I saw some questions coming in about how voting works on GiveSmart. So this is an example of an organization, the Warren Arts and Education Foundation's alumni class challenge. So they did a voting campaign where each vote was just $1. And you would go in and vote under your graduating year if you were an alumni, or encourage your classmates to vote for your class, or have your family members and friends vote for your year, and so on. The class with the most votes won as best class. There were options to donate as well, which is shown above where you see the voting items that were set up, that text to give 100 to make $100 donation. So they had donations and voting going, and all you had to do was go in and vote $1 on your class. It was super fun, super easy, and just a great example to show for how you can make a game out of a voting campaign and have fun with it, make it a challenge. So that is an example of voting, and we will be sharing the link to that campaign in the chat as well. And looking toward more raffle ideas and creative raffles, Megan, can you tell us a little bit about some creative raffle ideas and things that we have seen from different customers?
Of course. So just really fast in general, we know about the traditional raffles 50-50, and you can continue to do those online or whether you do this in person, real tickets. So a lot of these ideas can be done. A lot of these can be done either virtually or in person too. So I just wanted to add that there. So again, like I would say, keep it simple. Think about what your items are as far as like what is in these baskets, these raffles, and just sell your tickets for whatever amount you feel fits that raffle item. You can sell these as like during your ticket process as an add-on online before, during the event, or sell in person at the event. The options are endless for you. So just make sure to collect the information, obviously, and let them know how and when this winner will be announced and contacted. Just some best practices there. So really fast, we'll run through these basket. You can do one basket, 5, or as many as you want. Very similar to the traditional raffle, just request and receive a quality product, service, or any other in-kind gift from a local company. One thing that I've seen done in the past is do like a movie theater celebrity basket, sports star basket, home bakers basket, or like a weekend away package. Just some really simple ideas there. For the wheelbarrow of cheer, this is one where it's a prize that is literally presented in a wheelbarrow, very similar to the basket idea, just kind of a different, unique vessel, which is kind of fun. One thing that could really make this stand out is you can have it be themed to your like local area or your organization or your mission. And again, you can make the wheelbarrow anything you want. Madison and I were laughing that you could probably do like a kayak of cheer or a red wagon of cheer, or even just do something that relates to your audience a little bit more in that way. For the thin green line, the idea for this one is to draw a green line with a highlighter on your bid sheet at a certain bid amount or bid number. And the person who bids that amount or places that number bid gets entered into a raffle automatically. To do something like this virtually, you could make it every 5th bidder on an item gets entered into the raffle, encouraging people to try to be the 5th bidder on these items. They might even outbid themselves to get into the raffle. So just kind of something fun there. Door prizes are pretty, they're pretty easy and pretty fun to do. Take pictures or display the items with a glass jar next to each. You can give people 1 ticket when they walk in for free if you want, and then pay an additional $1 for each, or just ask them to purchase up front. You don't have to give anything away for free. But once they have their ticket, they can place it in the jar next to the items they're hoping to win. And then obviously make sure you choose an end date for this raffle and where that information will be announced. And again, just know that each ticket will be chosen out of each jar and the winner contacted. Guess the amount. This one's pretty fun, and it's been done across the board for a while now, but I've seen it done with pennies, jelly beans, etc., in a variety of vessels. The winner of this one is the one who chooses the closest amount to what items you have in your vessel. So your nonprofit can either sell tickets to guess the amount, or say that everyone gets 1 guess. You can do 1 free guess, and then any others are $1 or whatever you want to be per piece. One piece of advice is to find an item or a number that fits your mission, so you can tie it back to your program or any other programming specifically. I.e., if your founding year was 1908, do 1908 pieces of whatever you decide. Reverse raffle, this is something that Kaitlin will dive into a little later, but I just wanted to share the basics. Generally, you will want to limit the number of people entering this raffle, and raffle tickets should be sold for a more significant amount, so closer to like $100. So if you sell 300 tickets for $100 each, that gives the organization 20,000 of it, and then the winner of the reverse raffle gets 10,000. This one's different than the 50-50 because players know the amount of the prize before the game begins, which I think is like half the appeal for sure. The winner of the raffle is the number that is not called. So instead, the winner is the last one left whose ticket number was not called. Another fun way would be that you can give people the opportunity to buy back into the game, or you can give them the opportunity to stop early and split the pot. So yeah, I think Kaitlin will dive into that a little more a little bit later.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are all really great examples and just really fun ideas and ways that you can do raffles in different ways and fun ways to switch it up and just have fun at your events. A couple of questions that came in. Someone asked, is there a way we can know that they are the fifth bidder or what bid the item is at on the GiveSmart platform? There is a way for you to show the bid history on an item so that they can see what number bid the item is on, and you can also easily keep track. So there is a way to do that. And then as far as there are, of course, regulations with raffles and, you know, gambling regulations and things like that. So just look into your local and state guidelines. That's the best advice we can offer, since our audience today is across the country in different states and different regions. So look into your state and local guidelines, get in touch with those local offices to find out, you know, if you need a permit or a license to do raffles and how to go about doing that and how much time it can take. That's the best advice that we can offer you in that area. So without further ado, Kaitlin, I will pass it over to you to talk about Marian's super raffle and reverse raffle.
Thank you. So like Megan had touched on, we did a reverse raffle at our golf outing. Again, another revenue generator that was a part of the event. And really the flexibility on this really is great. So you can choose however much you would like for each ticket to be. You can choose, you know, what number drawing it is, how much you give away as prizes, but you'll see a flyer there on the screen of what we did. It was $35 per chance, and we sold 100 of them. Because it was golf, we actually had it displayed looking like it was a golf green on a board with little ping pong balls that were numbered. And so it was supposed to look like, you know, golf balls. What made it great about using GiveSmart is that we were able to sell these chances ahead of time, and then kept this tally going on the home screen, as you can see, of all the different numbers checked off. And we're able to ask them in the question box, you know, what number would you prefer? And so we were able to manage it through GiveSmart ahead of time, and then going into registration at the event, didn't have to sell as many because so many were sold ahead of time. So again, how much you charge, how much you give away, you know, what number you'd would draw on are all flexible and up to you, but we decided to do $35. We gave away those variety of amounts. And so we just did, you know, when we drew the 10th ball, that was the winner, 25, 50, 75, and 100. So very simple. You sell the chances either ahead of time or at registration of your event. That's how it worked well for our golf. And then at the end of the night, when we had our banquet, was where we did the drawing and then announced those winners. So that was our reverse raffle. And then, and we generated it with our amounts, it brought in $3,500, and we gave out $1,000 in prizes. So we netted $2,500 for that. And then changing gears a little bit, our super raffle, it started out as part of our gala, and then when that was canceled in April of 2020, we just continued the raffle part and made it its own campaign in GiveSmart. And basically, we did a grand prize of $7,500 cash or free tuition for 1 year, and then we had second, third, and fourth place prizes as well. The tickets are just $100 a ticket. We only sell 1,000 of them. And so again, it was great that we can sell them through GiveSmart through an instant item. As an incentive to our students, we offer a day off of school for the class that sells the most tickets. So again, using the feature where they can add in the question box and answer, we ask, is there any student you would like to get credit for this ticket? So makes it super, super simple. I would say the majority of our ticket sales happen online, makes it really simple. If Susie is selling tickets at school and knows that grandma living in Arizona might be interested, she can just send the link and do that instead of having to rely on grandma physically having the ticket in hand. And then we fill out all the tickets on our end. They all get entered into the raffle drum and drawn the night of our gala. And that last year on its own brought in $23,000. We gave away $12,000 in prizes. So in the most unusual year, we were able to even bring in $11,000 net. So that is something that we are continuing this year for our event. And again, just another revenue generator that we have used through our auction.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love both of those ideas. I think the reverse raffle is so much fun, and I can see where donors would get competitive and strategic about picking what their numbers are and, just having fun with that. I think those are really great raffle examples and, practical ways of how you guys have run them, especially with the challenge of COVID and having to change the way that your organization ran events during this time. So thank you for sharing both of those. And I wanted to go forward and share another example, and this is a tricky tray. So if you're unfamiliar with a tricky tray, this is kind of a combination of silent auction and raffle sort of meets in the middle. And we had an organization, JBWS, or Jersey Battered Women's Services. They did a tricky tray raffle event where everything was set up in GiveSmart as a raffle type item, sorted in tiers by their value, which ranged anywhere from $100 to $2,500. They had more than 175 items listed in this campaign. Donors could view them all and buy as many tickets as they wanted for any item. So ticket prices, depending on the item or basket value of that $100 to $2,500, the ticket prices for those ranged from $1 to $25, depending on the basket value. They ran the campaign for 3 days. Their donors absolutely loved it. I have a few examples of the different types of items that they were raffling or baskets that they were raffling. And they expanded their reach. They brought in new donors. And at the end, when it was time to pull winners, they held a live stream to announce their winners. They showed the item, a random number calculator to pull ticket number winners, and an Excel file on this live stream. And it was super fun. And the Excel file had the winners listed. So if you didn't tune in during the time for one of your items that you had put in a ticket for, then you could see who won that item, and maybe it was you, which would be a really fun surprise. And they also posted all of their announcements and winners and communications on their homepage. It's just a really excellent example of taking a tricky tray virtual, another different type of raffle that you can do. And, something like this could be its own event, but could also be an add-on to an event you already have planned. You could also mix it up and include mystery boxes or mystery items with themes and values listed to just make it even more fun. So this is just another example of a different type of raffle. There are so many different kinds, and we'll be sharing a link in the chat to another one of those Powerhouse profile webinars. It was a customer exclusive webinar with this organization where they talk about this campaign in more detail. So definitely check out that link after today's webinar if you want to look more into this type of event. So I also wanted to take a pause here, give Megan and Kaitlin a minute to breathe. And I wanted to launch another poll. We have a lot going on in today's webinar, a lot of information, a lot of examples and ideas, and we just quickly want to take a pulse of the room. If you're considering GiveSmart or looking for ways to enhance your use of fundraising software, let us know if you'd like any of the options in this poll. After all, we're here to help you, and the only way we can know how to do that is to ask you. We also have a really amazing promotion going for organizations new to GiveSmart or MobileCause, which is 6 free months of technology before your first payment, and more details on that coming at the end of today's call. So make sure you let us know if you'd like to be contacted so we can get you the details and info you need. And thank you to everyone who participated in that poll. We will continue on. So Megan, can you talk a little bit about creative outdoor game ideas and some examples that we've seen?
Yeah, of course. So obviously runs, walks, and races. For some reason, that's really hard for me to say right now. We see these runs and walks happen with basically every kind of theme every day, which is really cool and really exciting. So this is something you could obviously really work to tie back to your mission or your community. I personally have participated in a wine mile, a milk mile, which is not that much fun. Different brunch 5Ks. And then my personal favorite, supporting a local organization in Indianapolis. And you all obviously heard my dog bark earlier. So thank you for hanging in with me through that. My favorite is a mutt strut. So this is an event that's put on by the local Humane Society. And it's just a great example to really tell you guys about is you can register as an individual, create a team, but you can also register your dog or any walkable animal for different awards, apparel, and different things like that. They also change locations throughout Indianapolis every year. So it's just kind of a fun little extra idea that I wanted to share that we'd seen done really well. The next one is carnival games. So I would say you can execute any of these carnival style games with raffle tickets to keep it easy. Carnival style means people can purchase those tickets in a bulk fashion and then play a variety of games. It's also a great engagement opportunity for adults and kids who want to donate and participate, but maybe don't have a huge budget to spend. So, I mean, ring toss, cornhole are great examples of that. A duck race is something that's super popular. Again, I've told you guys I'm in Indianapolis, and so there's a local Brattleboro Village organization who does an annual duck race in a controlled canal along one of the rivers. So they sell 1 duck for $6 or 6 ducks for $30, and you do not have to be present to win. And so they race all of these down the canal, and prizes are awarded to first, second, and third. And that includes local gift cards to the the stores, that are a part of the association, and the first place prize is valued at over $500. One thing that this event does really, really well is that you can purchase ducks at any of the local shops, their farmers market that they put on every spring. You can buy them online, or you can buy them at their office at any time. And this event happens at the end of June. So all spring they're selling these ducks. The balloon pop, this is one and also I should say the duck race, it's live streamed. They live stream it on their Facebook page. So that's kind of one way to really take it virtual in that way. The last one, balloon pop, not for the faint of heart. It can be pretty loud, but it's good for an outdoor event. Basically, a balloon pop involves placing a number on each balloon and then allowing the guests to pop their balloons. You pay to participate, you pop the balloon, and then you get your prize. This could also be done with like a balloon wall that are numbered, and to take it online, you could do it via a live stream, just as like another way to think about it in that way. The yard decorating, I know Madison's going to get into with an example, but just really quick, I want to mention the helicopter ball drop and the golf tournament games. So helicopter ball drop, whichever ball is closest to the pin or an X marker gets a prize. All balls will be dropped together at the same time from like the helicopter or anything you use above. basically once everything is booked, start selling your golf balls, start selling whatever you're using to drop. And that can be kind of a fun in-person or online promotion option as well. Make sure to take a video and record it if you're going to do something like this. It's really fun to be able to watch and share and see. I've also seen this done really well as like a candy drop at an event with kids, and kids actually just literally go wild. I should say adults too, because we all love candy. And then the last thing that I want to add is that as far as golf tournaments, one thing we've seen done really well on MobileCause and GiveSmart is that you can do mulligans being sold online, adding golf strokes to other players online. You basically can go online and like select your team or players or anything like that, or you can donate to have strokes removed. I apologize if I said any of that incorrectly. I'm not the biggest golfer, so I apologize there. But basically, it's just a great way for yourself or your foursome that you're playing with to participate and give in a different way. And then I've also seen this done just really well by the Children's Miracle Network hospitals for their golf outings.
Absolutely. I love those examples. I think a ball drop is super fun. And I also have a local duck race that happens. So I love that example as well for fundraising. It's just super fun and gets people involved in different ways, especially as we're looking toward, especially if you're in certain regions of the country, spring and summer, where we can go outside again and have outdoor fun fundraisers. Those are just some really fun examples. So I wanted to quickly touch on, thank you, Megan, for saving this one for me. This was called Get Egged, and it's kind of that egged or flocked example of decorating someone's yard. So Stratford Playhouse Booster Club held a You've Been Egged event, also known as Get Egged, where they created yard signs in the shape of an egg. They sold tickets for $25, so you could buy an egg and basically eggs someone's yard. You give their address when you purchase your ticket. The organization took the egg and put it in someone's yard. To get rid of the egg in your yard, if you've been egged, you had to donate and pay to egg someone else and give another person's address. So they used creative, unique hashtags to track social media engagement, and they encouraged people to take pictures with their eggs when their lawns were egged, or if they, went and visited someone's lawn that they had paid to egg. And it was just super fun. He got a ton of people engaged, and we've seen other organizations do similar events like this, like someone did flocking with the pink flamingos that you can buy. So it's all about how you can make this work for your mission. It's relatively fun, low cost, engaging, competitive, because of course, if your lawn gets egged, you want to go egg someone else's lawn. And then there's all these eggs popping up all over your community. It's just fun and brings awareness to your organization as well in your community, because what better way to get people talking than people to be like, what is with all of these eggs on everyone's lawns? It's just super fun. So we have the link in chat for that as well. So moving forward into our last example of the day, before we go into the Q&A and answer a lot of your really important questions, Megan, will you tell us a little bit about Feed More's Walk Off Hunger race?
Yeah, for sure. So this happened in October of 2021. It was an in-person outdoor event, and they had a raffle component and some auction items. And the one thing to really take away from this was a race with a peer-to-peer component. So it really incentivized the champions for your organization to get people registered to participate. If they raised a certain amount by getting, more people registered or anything like that, they were able to win prizes like a 12-can cooler or a Sherpa blanket, anything along those lines, just to get their engagement up and really bringing out those champions. The one thing that's really great is it just creates friendly competition, I should say, among your champions, and gets the community members way more involved in the race event itself. So just wanted to make mention of that. I believe Patrick dropped it in the chat, so feel free to go there for some more information. And then Madison, I'm going to kick it back to you for Q&A.
Absolutely. So again, thank you everyone for coming today and participating and sending in all of your chats and questions. We have time for just a couple before we're going to wrap up. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm taking note on our chats and questions. So anything we don't get to live, I will make sure I include at least a link or a resource in the follow-up email, as well as the recording of today's session. So be on the lookout for that. I won't leave anyone hanging on, an answer that went, or a question that went unanswered. So a first question to ask, and Kaitlin, I will ask you. Someone asked, how many games or events do you average in a year? We currently do one major formal gala, and I would love to have some smaller events to diversify our donors. So if you could give some advice on how you guys have decided how many events to hold or how frequently and how you get creative.
Absolutely. So we were similar. We had our major gala and our golf outing as some of our big fundraisers. And then when COVID hit, we really had to pivot and get creative. And so that's when we implemented some of the virtual ideas like our trivia, our car race, our paint and sip. Some were, had a completely virtual component, some were combination. And so now we are campaign wise anywhere from 5 to 7 campaigns in a year, and I think that will continue to grow. And really we've just, I think, changed our mindset to not be so much event based, but how can we generate revenue, like our car race that was not an event, you didn't attend anything, but again, we were able to bring in some money for our mission.
Absolutely, that's really great advice. And it really does depend on the size of your organization, your mission, your motivations and goals throughout the year, and what you think your donors would be interested in. But that's a really, really great question, and thank you for asking that. And Megan, just one last question before we sign off today. If you have any advice on how to price admission for fundraisers to ensure that funds are raised, but it's not so expensive that it's a barrier for people to attend. So maybe in your experience with your organizations, when you ran games or you put up tickets and, had your auction items, what some of that might have looked like, or any advice that you could give.
Yeah, so some advice that I can give, especially I think it's more for in-person events, as far as like overhead, I think in my mind. I guess it's like really look at, and I feel like this is, I shouldn't say it's general, but like I think about it as like knowing what the cost, I guess similar to a wedding, right? Like how expensive is it per person for attending, and really thinking through, like what that actual, I guess I don't know if I'm really making sense, but thinking what that actual cost is as far as like in-person events, and like what that actual overhead will look like. Pricing for it, I think it obviously depends on like what the actual fundraiser is. I have seen bingo events where it's, $10 for one virtual bingo card and like 20 for 3, or like however you want to price it that way. Doing these events online can help defer a lot of that cost, because a lot of what you're doing is just sending out via email or communicating via text message to make sure people have the items necessary to participate. For a silent auction, I think it just comes down to knowing what the actual price is, like for the basket or for the item, and just really, really thinking about like you as a person, like what are you willing to spend on an item, and then think about like also who your audience is. And I think knowing who your audience is will really, really help you price that as well. I hope I answered that question well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great advice. It's all about knowing your audience, knowing your donor, looking at what your overhead costs are going to be for your event, looking at what you're offering, what your games look like, and then pricing everything out to make sure that you're getting the fundraising revenue that you need to be successful while also making it accessible to your donors. So yeah, I think you answered that really well. And I will wrap up today again by saying, if you're interested in learning more about GiveSmart and taking advantage of our promotion, follow the link in the chat. I will include it in the email as well. And Megan and Kaitlin, thank you so much for joining us today, for your wise words and extending your expertise and examples to all of us. It was amazing to have you here with us. And thank you to everyone attending. We will see you next time.